What is the separation of being? Well, that's a very long story, and you can read the book. But the short story is the separation of being is the disconnect we have to the world around us. Now, if you look around, you only need to turn on the TV or look down at the screen, and you can see the world is a very chaotic place. There is an inherent lack of meaning in the world, and my focus in the book was to reconnect with tradition, reconnect with what we have lost. Just a few hundred years ago, we were very different people. We were different beings. We had a very innate connection with the world around us, with nature, and of course with ourselves. We were very tribal. We depended entirely on the functioning of the relationships within the tribe. And information and experience and knowledge, wisdom was transferred between the elders and the youth, between the elders and the tribal leaders, and that doesn't happen anymore. We focus on screens, and while this is convenient, it doesn't translate the same amount of information. It doesn't allow you to connect in the same way that you would connect if I was standing in front of you and you were sitting beside me. That is a fact. The Buddhist monk talks of an experience, and he says that we live in paradise. Now, many of you would question that and perhaps even claim that the Buddhist monk lives in an ivory tower and doesn't experience the real world and doesn't understand how difficult my life really is. The retort, of course, from the Buddhist monk is that he can prove this very easily. He can prove that we live in a paradise very easily beyond question. And all he has to do is to reference the situation where someone has lost something extraordinarily valuable. Imagine for a second someone who has become blind. That blinded person, if they were given one moment of vision, they would truly be in paradise. Their dreams would be realized. They would sense enormous pleasure, ecstasy, from a moment of vision. And here we are, on a daily basis, oblivious to the privilege. And it's not just vision, it is everything in this extraordinary world. This is an extraordinarily rich world. Buddhism, one of the aims of Buddhism is to do exactly that, is to open one's eyes as to the richness of the world, the texture that is deeply meaningful all around us. And we move so quickly through this world to get to a place that doesn't exist. The only place that exists is here and now, in the conscious moment. I recall a story, a myth, that suggests that the Buddha, when he became the Buddha, in his first meditative experience, went with him in himself, meditated to investigate the world in which he lived, to investigate his own being, went into himself and discovered that his body was not a body of flesh and bone as we understand, but was created at its essence with energy, with tiny, minute bundles of energy, which he in fact called kalipas, that burst in and out of existence. I find that extraordinary because 2,000 years later, we have a science, a refined body of science called quantum physics, quantum mechanics, that has delved into the deepest levels of material being and has discovered that we are in fact bundles of energy that burst in and out of existence. We are not a material being. We are not matter as such. If you look inside your body, look at your hand. Of course, you see a material being, but deep enough inside the atom, there is a stream of energy, and modern day quantum physics suggests that an atom, the subatomic structure of an atom, is made up of virtual particles that burst in and out of existence trillions and trillions of times in the space of a second. In fact, the mass, your mass, is by far the result of these virtual particles bursting in and out of existence. Now, that's not me talking. That's the brightest minds in physics talking. I find that extraordinary. We are a flux of energy. The Buddha discovered that 2,000 years ago. And the book, Iniquity and the Separation of Being, describes the most intricate parts of this thing we call life.